Are you kidding me? I hate this car. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. As you saw, I was hooking the trailer up, and that can only mean one thing. I guess it can mean two things, but I'm not bringing any of my cars anywhere for a while now. So I am picking up another car, but this is not like a super exciting, cool, like whatever. I honestly wasn't planning to do this at all, and it's kind of like, doesn't really matter. It's really cheap, this car. I'll explain once we get it and why I think it makes sense. And I think in the long run, I'm gonna be better off doing this anyway. It's gonna actually save me money and time, probably, for next season. So you probably already know what's going on, but I'll explain it when we get the car back here and start looking it over. But I'm super pumped. Somebody hit me up like literally 2 days ago about this deal on a car that their buddy had, and he's just trying to sell it. And I was like, not interested unless maybe you want to sell some parts off it. And he's like, no, I just want to sell the whole car. So we're gonna buy the whole car. Let's hit the road and get to it. So as you see, I've bought another E46, which, like I said, it's not super exciting, it's not cool. Really the only reason that I bought this car was somebody randomly hit me up on Instagram and they were like, hey, do you need another E46? And I was like, no, not really, like I already have one that I don't want, so I don't need another one. And I was like, maybe some parts or whatever. And he's like, wow, just buy this one, whole car for really cheap. And so I was like, I don't really, not interested. Like I don't have room. I don't need to be having a whole nother car. And then he was sending me pictures of it and showing me it. And he's like, you know, there's no rot. Like it's not in bad shape. It's manual. And it's like a solid, good running car. I guess it was somebody's daily, like before this guy got it. And he was just gonna put it on the road and daily it, but I don't know, something happened and he decided to change his mind. So I ended up picking it up pretty cheap. But yeah, why would I buy another junk E46? Because like it's not great, but it's a lot better than the other one. Main reasons for me purchasing this car, basically, I don't like doing a bunch of mechanical and like electrical gremlin type work. It's just super frustrating. That other car that I have, it was a 330, somebody swapped in a 2.5, supposed to have a 3 liter. And then apparently it never ran right, but the guy said that's fine, that's just how it is. Not a huge fan of that. And I had a couple people look at it, other people try and fix it. No one could get it to run properly. So I'm definitely not that guy to make it run properly because I don't do that. This thing, as soon as you hit the key, fires right up, idles beautifully, doesn't search. That thing is like always searching for an idle. Super weird response on the throttle too. Like you hit the gas and maybe like 2 seconds later, it'll like rev like way up. This thing is just normal, like how it should be. Like you just hit the gas and it's there. And also that car that I bought a while ago, or actually I traded for it. I did not buy that car. Did not spend money on that car. But anyways, so on that other car, there's no power steering. And to make the power steering work, I guess the power steering pump is blown. And then who knows what shape the rack is in because it's been depowered or whatever for like years, I guess. So this thing, power steering works. I think it might be leaking, honestly, like some rusty lines or whatever because it is leaking, but it works. It's fully functional. I wasn't about to start trying to learn how to drift with no power steering, and it's just super annoying when you're trying to like move the car around and you're giving it all you got just to crank the wheel around. So yeah, this thing, power steering, runs beautifully, like really good. It has a really high kilometers. I think it's like 290,000 kilometers on it, but it runs really good. I'm gonna take the coilovers, maybe some other things like the rear diff, it's welded, and it's also out of a 330, so I believe it's beefier than the 325 that this would have. So I might just drop the whole rear subframe on both cars and just swap them. And then also the front end suspension. So it has coilovers on the other car and also some sort of an angle kit, which I haven't even looked at, but apparently it's pretty decent. That car also has dual calipers in the rear and a hydro setup, so I'll put that all in here. And I would rather redo it anyways because the way that they ran the brake lines is like super sketchy and weird. So I'd rather just do it nicely and not have to worry about it. That other car also leaks a tremendous amount of fuel from everywhere. There's like multiple spots that thing leaks fuel, and it's just like, man, I don't want to deal with that. Pretty much overall, I just think that this car is a better starting point. There's so much less work to do to this thing. So yeah, main goals with this car basically were eliminate a lot of the issues that I was having with the other car by just not dealing with them and just starting over with another car, which sounds terrible, but this car was really cheap, and that car is pretty much lost cause. Everyone I talked to was like, yeah, that car was like built pretty good and stuff, but it's just, it was built a long time ago, and it's not even like knocking the guy who owned it before me, like nothing like that. It's been beat like for a long time. So I think it's gonna be a pretty good idea to just kind of start over. And the only downside to doing what I'm doing is that the rear subframes in these cars are like notoriously bad. Well, it's not actually a subframe, it's, I guess, the mounting points like on the chassis where the subframe mounts to are like known to be extremely brittle and crack and whatever, fall apart. So that's kind of an unknown with this car. I won't really know until I jack it up, get under there. But on the other car, that is already reinforced, so like that's good with that car. But that is really the only con that I can think of doing this, that this car doesn't have that car does. Overall, the body on this car is like way nicer. As you can see, there's a little bit of rust on the front door, and actually both front doors are about the same. But luckily, I think the only two like clean panels on the other car are the front doors. So I'm just gonna swap the doors over. You can see this one. Looks like somebody welded a patch or something in that one even. So the front doors are kind of junk, but I'll swap those over because I have them. But then as far as the rest of the car, this hood has a few dings, but like it's way better. The other one's been like folded in half, and you can see it's a little dent in the front there, but I can fix that. It came with this bumper, which it's cool, but I really like big, like stylish body kits, whatever, on drift cars. I think drift cars should look good and look cool. And I'm not trying to start an argument or anything, but I just, I don't want to be driving like an ugly car. So I do want to make this thing look cool, and that was always the plan with the other car. And that's another reason why I kind of bought this thing. I wouldn't really want to spend a ton of money on paint materials and like body kit stuff even to put on that chassis, because it's just, it's beat. So like this thing is much cleaner. It's a better starting point, and in my opinion, I think it's going to be like faster and easier to make this car do what that car maybe did like 5 years ago, but basically starting over. So that's my plan. And then I will also basically have like a whole car worth of spare parts, like suspension, like arms and whatever. I'm not sure what that has like aftermarket, but most of it should be the same stuff. So I kind of have like a whole parts car to like pick from. One thing that does suck, I was a noob on this one, and I went and looked at it. By the time I got there, it was dark. I didn't realize that the windshield was busted, and like it's really busted. Like I don't know how I didn't notice it. It was covered in snow when I bought it, but that sucks. The other car does have a clean windshield, but I don't know if I'm gonna go through that. The amount of work I would have to do to that other purple car to basically get it to even this point when I haven't even touched this thing, it would be like a lot of time and probably, you know, a bit of money as well. So I just figured starting over with this car, kind of like a clean slate, and basically just like pick and choose the good stuff off that car and putting on here, I'm already further ahead just because of how this thing runs and basically how solid it is. So I think it's gonna end up benefiting me in the long run, even though it kind of seems silly to like, it sounds like a lot more work. Like now you're taking two cars apart and doing like technically way more work, but I would rather just swap parts all day than try and diagnose somebody else's wiring nightmares and figure out why the car's not idling, why the car is surging all over the place, and why the throttle doesn't, you know, respond correctly and whatever. It could be something simple and something stupid, but everyone I've talked to has no idea. I have no idea. So this was just ultimately the better option for me. But yeah, body-wise, it's a lot straighter. Like I said, the two doors, I'll swap those out from the other car because luckily they're clean for some reason. Maybe a few dings or whatever, but like there's no rust. The seam's clean, whatever. And then I do want to paint this thing. So I think because this is so much cleaner and straighter than that car, it would be really sick to like be able to paint this winter, just like some cool color. I'm not a huge fan of this color. I don't know what it even is, but just do something wild because I don't really care about it. So maybe do some experimenting, whatever. But I do want to get like an actual body kit for it, which sucks because like only a couple companies make them. They're pretty expensive, and by the time you ship them and everything like that, it's gonna cost quite a bit of money. But I just really like that look. So that's what I'm going for. Low, big kit, cool wheels, possibly. And yeah, one color, and hopefully like a nice paint job for a drift car, which I know is the wrong way to do it, but like I said, to me, that's what I think a drift car is. It's just a cool looking car, stylish, stuff like that. And I'm hoping I can be able to do that with this car. So I think now I'm probably gonna just jack it up real quick, take a look underneath. I'm sure I'm gonna find something that I'm not stoked about. But I just wanna basically check around like the subframe area and just kind of get an overall idea what the car looks like underneath. So I'm gonna do that now, and then we'll kind of see what we see. Okay, so under the car, it honestly doesn't look that bad. Like the exhaust looks like brand new, which is really weird. But I don't know, like, I don't know really what I'm looking for, but I checked up top, you know, front and back on the subframe mounts, and it's all there. Like, I don't really see any issues with it. Like, up in here, obviously the subframe is, like, crusty, but it's just surface. But, like, the floor, or whatever that the subframe mounts to there, the rail, it's super solid. All of this stuff looks not bad. Like, even the bolts for, like, 300,000 kilometers, I mean, it doesn't look bad at all to me. There's a soft spot in this floor. This is the driver's side. I guess like under the back seats, you can see like there's nothing there. So might have to take care of that just because I'm not a huge fan of having no floor. And probably jack the front up, take a look underneath the motor and basically everything up there and see what's going on. You can see the power steering is definitely leaking because it's like a mess down here. You can see somebody double clamped that one line already, so it's obviously been an issue. I guess that's good, no huge surprises yet. Overall, it does seem like a pretty decent car, like solid car. After getting underneath it, obviously I found some things, you know, that I didn't know before, but it's still probably like 5 times better shape than the other car, so this is definitely gonna be the move, I think. I don't know, let me know what you guys think. If this is a good idea, bad idea, stupid. I'm not entirely sure when I'm gonna get to this because like I said, on the S15, I still want to just mount the speeder top and that thing will be done. And then I can basically start moving some stuff around and get right into this and the other car, which I think is gonna be pretty exciting. Hopefully it'll come together pretty quickly. Should be a fun little build and hopefully it goes semi-smoothly. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about my idea with the two cars. I think it's a good idea. I mean, on the surface, this is a much nicer car. So, like I said, the amount of work that I would have to do to the other car to even get it to basically like the starting point of this car, I think is like worth it in itself to just put everything good on this car, I think it's kind of no-brainer. But let me know what you guys think. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.